Today, we are diving into two absolutely epic tales from ancient Mesopotamia. And honestly, they tell us so much about their world. On one hand, you have a story about a god's destructive temper tantrum, and on the other, a king's desperate, all-consuming quest to create. Together, they really give you this incredible picture of a universe that's constantly being pulled between chaos and order. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll meet Era, the god of plague, who is, believe it or not, dangerously bored, and we'll see the absolute chaos that follows. Then, we're going to completely switch gears and follow the story of King Etana, whose mission to have a son will literally take him on a journey to the heavens. You know, to really get these stories, you have to get inside the Mesopotamian mindset. For them, the gods who gave them everything, cities, laws, farming, were the exact same gods who could just wipe it all away. A flood, a plague, and sometimes for reasons that made no sense at all. So life was this constant, fragile balancing act of trying to keep order when chaos could erupt at any moment. All right, so let's jump into our first story and meet our main character, Era. He's the god of war and plague, but when we first see him, he's not out there fighting. No, he's at home, just sitting there, completely overwhelmed by this dangerous cosmic boredom. And what's so fascinating right from the start is that the conflict isn't between two gods or a god and a human. It's happening inside Era's own house. It's a fight between him and his own living weapons, the Seven Warriors. I mean, these guys are itching for a fight, practically begging him to let them loose on the world. They're the embodiment of his destructive power, and they just cannot stand being idle. And so, with his own instruments of war basically screaming at him to do something, Era finally decides to act. And where does he set his sights? Oh, just on the greatest city in the world, Babylon. And its protector, the king of all the gods, Marduk. But Era doesn't just charge in, weapons blazing. He's way smarter than that. He goes to Marduk and uses a simple insult. He literally makes fun of his clothes. He suggests Marduk should leave his throne, leave the city unguarded, and go get himself cleaned up. And he promises, "Don't worry, I'll watch over heaven and earth while you're gone." And the second Marduk is out of the picture, all hell breaks loose. Era plunges Babylonia into an absolute nightmare. Brother turns against brother, the good are killed right alongside the wicked, and the holy places are completely defiled. His rampage is so terrifying, the other gods literally go into hiding. And it only stops when his advisor, Isham, bravely steps up, and he doesn't appeal to Era's mercy. He appeals to his pride. He points at all the devastation and basically asks, "Look what you've done. A world without worshippers has no one to give you glory." And that finally gets through to him. So the takeaway here is pretty chilling. This wasn't some grand divine war for justice. This was destruction for destruction's sake, born from nothing more than boredom and rage. An entire civilization almost blinked out of existence because one god got restless. That's the kind of terrifying chaos these people believed in. Okay, let's just take a breath and completely pivot. We're moving away from that senseless divine destruction and turning to a story of focused human creation. Let's meet Etana, the king of Kish. The gods have given him a stable kingdom, but they've held back the one thing he desperately needs to secure its future: a son. So for Etana, his entire world, his entire quest, starts to revolve around finding this one thing, the plant of birth. It's a myth, a legend, something that's supposed to only grow up in the heavens. But when you're a king without an heir, it is the only hope you have left. Now, as King Etana is praying to the gods for help, his fate is about to get tangled up in a totally separate drama. This one is playing out in a tree between an eagle and a serpent who have sworn a sacred oath to protect each other's children. But the eagle gets greedy. Even its own child warns it, saying the sun god Shamash is watching. But it doesn't listen. It breaks the holy oath and eats the serpent's babies. And this isn't just one animal betraying another. This is a direct offense against Adad, a cosmic crime. The serpent, completely heartbroken, cries out to Shamash for justice. And oh boy, does the god deliver. He tells the serpent to hide inside the dead body of an ox. When the hungry eagle swoops down to feast, the serpent springs the trap, breaks the eagle's wings, and throws it into a deep pit to die. And right here, this is where you see the absolute brilliance of Mesopotamian storytelling. The god Shamash hears two completely separate prayers at the same time, one from a disgraced eagle begging for its life, and one from a desperate king begging for a son. So what does she do? He weaves their destinies together. He tells Etana exactly where to find the trapped eagle and tells him to save it. And you have to admire Etana's character here. For 8 long months, he patiently brings food to the eagle, nursing it back to health. Once its wings are finally healed, the eagle is ready to repay its debt by flying Etana all the way to the heavens to find that plant of birth. So the king climbs onto the eagle's back and up they go. After flying for just 1 mile, they look down, and the vast land he rules over has already shrunk to the size of a tiny hill. They keep climbing higher, and the world he knows just keeps receding. Now the whole earth looks no bigger than a little grove of trees, and the massive sea is the size of a breadbasket. The sheer scale is just unimaginable for a mortal man. Then, at the 3-mile mark, they look down, and there's nothing. The world is just gone. The terrifying, empty blackness of space is just too much. Etana loses his grip, and they plummet all the way back to Earth. The first attempt ends in total failure.
But here's the thing about Etana. He doesn't give up. He has a dream that gives him new courage, and he decides to try again. And on the second flight, they make it. They fly past the gates of the gods, they reach the heaven of Anu, and they find the plant of birth. Etana returns home, his son Bali is born, and the future of his kingdom is finally secure. So you've got these two tales sitting side by side. Era, a god who almost destroys the world just because he was bored, and Etana, a mortal man who literally flies to the heavens and back, all to build something that will last. You have to think the Mesopotamians told these stories together for a reason. They're a powerful reminder that civilization, well, it isn't a guarantee. It's this fragile, precious thing, built by human determination, right in the face of a chaotic universe.